The amount of wealth needed to be considered part of the global elite is not a fortune worth billions or even millions of pounds, according to a new report. According to the Global Wealth Report 2018 by the Credit Suisse Research Institute, only a net worth of £669,735 $871,320 is needed to be classed as being in the worldwide 1%. A person's wealth or net worth is defined by the think tank as the value of financial assets plus real assets, principally housing, owned by households, minus their debts. More than 3 million Britons, 17 million Americans and 4 million Chinese people are in the 1% worldwide, according to Credit Suisse. JPG height equals 412 width equals 634 alt equals class equals book border img share copy link to paste in your message. To be among the top 10% worldwide you do not even need six figures of net worth, just £71,638, $93,170, and even being worth just £3,237, $4,210 makes you still richer than half of the world's population. During the 12 months since the think tank's last report to mid-2018, the aggregate global wealth rose by £10. 7 trillion, $14 trillion, to £277 trillion, $317 trillion, which represents a growth rate of around 4.6%. Credit Suisse reports, while the bottom half of adults collectively owns less than 1% of total wealth, the richest decile, top 10% of adults, owns 85% of global wealth, and the top percentile alone accounts for almost half of all household wealth, 47%. The report published this month shows the extreme wealth inequality around the world, but added that the increasing gap between rich and poor might be slowing. It says, there are signs that wealth inequality is no longer rising, and that the prevailing evidence suggests it may well have leveled out, albeit at a very high level. How financial assets among many of the richest people in richest countries are distributed peaked in 2015 and has been declining since then, the report states. JPG height equals 448 width equals 634 alt equals class equals book border img share copy link to paste in your message. The authors added, in previous reports, we predicted that wealth inequality would follow suit, possibly with a slight lag, and there is evidence that this is now the case. The share of the top decile and the top 5% remains at the same level as in 2016, while the share of the top 1% has edged down from 47.5% to 47.2% according to our best estimate. America still has the highest number of citizens in the top 1%, but China is now clearly established in second place in the world wealth hierarchy, the report adds. After the referendum vote of 2016 caused the exchange rate and stock market to fall sharply in Britain, the following 12 months saw wealth per adult rise 1% in terms of US dollars and 2% in British pounds, the report said. JPG height equals 522 width equals 634 alt equals class equals book border img share copy link to paste in your message, but the outlook for the UK is now uncertain, with the probability of a no-deal Brexit, the think tank report authors state. Total wealth in the UK is the same now as it was in the United States in 1958, and is expected to reach £11. $5 trillion, $15 trillion in 2023, an improvement of only 2 U.S. years, which according to the report, was reflecting the likely effect of Brexit on the economy. The report states Britain has 2.4 million US dollar millionaires, which represents 6% of all millionaires globally. Among developed economies, Germany and France are expected to see a rise in the number of millionaires by just below 900,000. JPG height equals 632 width equals 634 alt equals class equals book border img share copy link to paste in your message. Canada and Australia will also experience a significant rise in their numbers of millionaires, but given the lower growth prospects after Brexit, the UK is thought by Credit Suisse to see a smaller rise in millionaire numbers over the next 5 years. Russia, which has 74 billionaires, still has one of the most concentrated distributions of assets of advanced nations, with 82% of wealth held by the top 10%, which is higher than China with 62%. Despite household wealth growing by 500% since the millennium, India has considerable wealth poverty, with 91% of the adult population having below £8,773 $10,000. Although India has 4 times the population of the US, total wealth in the country is comparable to the level for the United States 90 years ago. It is estimated that women account for about 40% of all global wealth,